The Supreme Court has ruled in favor of parents who objected to LGBTQ-themed books in Maryland's Montgomery County elementary school classrooms. In a 6-3 vote, the court backed the parents' claim that the school board's decision not to allow an opt-out option for their children violated their religious rights under the Constitution's First Amendment. The ruling affects public schools across the country, with liberal Justice Sonia Sotomayor warning of chaos in a dissenting opinion. U.S. President Donald Trump addressed the nation after the Supreme Court issued a ruling that curbs lower court injunctions blocking his birthright citizenship plan. The decision allows Trump's administration to move forward with implementing the policy, which has been met with controversy and opposition from various groups. Trump stated that the lower court injunctions were a grave threat to democracy and hailed the Supreme Court's decision as a victory for his administration. The Supreme Court has ruled in favor of the Trump administration, upholding a provision of the Affordable Care Act that requires insurers to provide free preventive care services. The court's 6-3 decision rejected a challenge from conservative groups and individuals who argued that the panel recommending these services was not properly appointed. The U.S. Preventive Services Task Force will continue to recommend services related to cancer, diabetes, and heart disease, among others. This ruling is the latest in a series of Supreme Court decisions affecting the 2010 health care law. The Supreme Court has rejected a challenge to the Federal Communications Commission's program that subsidizes phone and internet services in underserved areas. The 6-3 decision upholds the Universal Service Fund, which requires telecommunications companies to spend billions of dollars on subsidies for poor and rural communities. The court ruled that Congress did not exceed its authority when it enacted the 1996 law setting up the fund, and that the FCC can delegate its authority to a private corporation to administer the program. The U.S. Supreme Court has upheld a Texas law requiring age verification for adult websites, rejecting a challenge from the Free Speech Coalition. The law aims to restrict young people's access to pornographic content online and was supported by Justice Clarence Thomas, who wrote that it advances the state's interest in shielding children from sexually explicit material. The challengers argued that the law violates the Constitution's First Amendment, but the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 in favor of Texas. Sean Combs' son Justin is accused of luring a woman to Los Angeles, where she was allegedly gang-raped by his father and 2 other masked men. The lawsuit claims the woman, identified as Jane Doe, was held prisoner for a weekend, given drugs and alcohol, and raped. The suit demands damages and a jury trial. Combs' media team denied the allegations, stating that he has never sexually assaulted or sex-trafficked anyone. A bill by Senator Tom Cotton would cut the office of the Director of National Intelligence's staff from 1,600 to 650, according to a senior Senate aide. The move comes as National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard appears to have fallen out of favor in the Trump administration. The ODNI was created after the September 11th attacks to oversee all U.S. intelligence services and manage bureaucratic turf wars. The S&P 500 has reached an all-time high, returning to its starting point shortly after President Donald Trump's second term began. Despite initial forecasts of a 12% gain, the index is up only 4% year-to-date. The rebound follows a turbulent period sparked by Trump's tariff rhetoric and a Chinese AI model that raised concerns about productivity investments. Analysts attribute the recovery to lower borrowing costs and corporate earnings holding up, despite policy uncertainty. Former Minnesota House Speaker Melissa Hortman will be the first woman to lie in state at the Minnesota Capitol Rotunda on Friday after her suspected killer, Vance Bolter, appeared in court. Hortman and her husband were killed in a politically motivated assassination at their home on June 14th. Thousands are expected to pay their respects at the Capitol Rotunda on Friday afternoon. Former Vice President Kamala Harris will attend the funeral services for the Hortmans. Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez kicked off Day 2 of their Italian wedding extravaganza with a star-studded guest list, including Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, Tom Brady, Ivanka Trump, and Jared Kushner. The couple exchanged vows in a private ceremony in Venice on June 27, 2025. The final episodes of Squid Game have been released on Netflix, concluding the series with a bittersweet ending. Player 456, Lee Jung-jae, sacrifices himself to save an innocent baby, answering the question, "Do you still have faith in people?" The winner of the game is revealed to be the infant, player 222. Meanwhile, Detective Jun-ho Hwa-jun rescues escaped player 246 and sends the Korean Coast Guard to the island. The pink-suited guard No-il survives and reunites with player 246's daughter, who is now healthy. In a twist, No-il receives news that her own daughter might be alive in China. The series concludes with a hint of a new game, as frontman, Lee Byung-hun, spots a recruiter, Kate Blanchett, playing the introductory card slap game. California Governor Gavin Newsom has filed a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against Fox News, accusing host Jesse Watters of defamation. The lawsuit claims that Watters falsely stated that Newsom had lied about a phone call with President Donald Trump during a dispute over the use of the National Guard in Los Angeles. Newsom is seeking more than $787 million and alleges that Fox operates as a propaganda machine for President Trump's radical right-wing agenda. Fox News has responded, stating that the lawsuit is frivolous and designed to chill free speech, critical of Newsom. The U.S. visa ban on Iranians has derailed the academic careers of many students who had planned to study in the United States. Mohammed Inayati, a 28-year-old civil engineering student, spent years attempting to obtain a visa and was crestfallen by the ban. Hadis Abbasian, an Iranian cancer researcher, said she will not give up her goal to study in the U.S. despite the indefinite ban. The students argue that they should not be punished for their nationality and that the ban unfairly conflates them with the Iranian regime. The Supreme Court has handed a major win to the Trump administration by allowing it to take steps to implement its proposal to end automatic birthright citizenship. In a 6-3 vote, the court granted a request by the Trump administration to narrow the scope of nationwide injunctions imposed by judges so that they apply only to states, groups, and individuals that sued. The ruling does not touch upon the legal merits of Trump's plan, but allows the administration to continue working on implementing it. Lower courts have time to act before the 30-day deadline for the executive order to go into effect. A 61-year-old youth sports umpire, Mitchell Huggins, died over the weekend in Sumter County, South Carolina, after collapsing during a softball tournament due to heat stroke. Temperatures had climbed as high as 91 degrees on Saturday. This is the second reported heat-related death in the state this week, following a woman's death from heat exhaustion in Anderson County. Former Minnesota House Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband were killed in a politically motivated assassination at their home on June 14th. She will be the first woman to lie in state at the Minnesota Capitol Rotunda, where thousands are expected to pay their respects. The suspected killer, Vance Bolter, appeared in court wearing an anti-suicide smock and was granted a postponement of his bail hearing due to concerns about his jail conditions. Bolter has pleaded not guilty to multiple counts of second-degree intentional murder and attempted murder. Billionaire Jeff Bezos and his fiancée Lauren Sanchez began their 3-day wedding celebration in Venice, Italy, with a star-studded gala on Thursday. The event drew celebrities like Oprah Winfrey, Kim and Khloe Kardashian, Tom Brady, Bill Gates, and Leonardo DiCaprio. However, the festivities were marred by protests from activists who displayed banners and floated a Bezos-inspired mannequin down a canal. The protesters criticized Bezos' presence in Venice, citing his wealth and Amazon's impact on the environment. Despite the controversy, the city of Venice is welcoming the couple with open arms, with Deputy Mayor Simone Venturini saying that the city has managed many high-profile events before. Bezos and Sanchez are expected to tie the knot on Saturday at the Arsenal in a ceremony that will not be legally recognized under Italian law.